Okay, so I'm a bit nervous, but I'm going to start now. If any of you are wondering why I'm not leaving it white, which I could do, this has a bunch of smudges here because it's hard to keep the paper completely white, and I couldn't erase them. So I'm using circular motions because in the type of background I want to make, I just don't want there to be any straight lines or, just markings that I can't get rid of. So you're going to want to do this in little clumps with each color. You don't have to go through the whole thing with each color, just maybe like clouds of different colors, and then I'm going to go in between them with other colors. I'm not making the out of focus style one that you can see in, for example, this reference photo, like this with the little circles. I just prefer this one, so I'm going to be showing you how to do this. So going right up next to the butterfly, being very careful. Okay, so now I'm going to get a darker color. This is a darker blue, and it's not that different actually, but I'm going to go in the gaps now. I might need to get another blue. This might be not dark enough. I'm using Faber-Castell sticks to do this. I do have Unison soft pastel sticks, which you might have seen me use before, but for that one I didn't buy the full set, so I don't have all the blues and such. I just have the colors I can use to make animals. I also haven't invested in pan pastels. I have a couple, but again, not blues or greens. But I might invest in those soon. They seem really fun. With these backgrounds, first I make it darker and then I make it lighter. That's just how I work with pastels in general. Okay, next color is going to be this blue-green. I'm just going to put this in a couple of places because I have used green in this reference and I think it'll bring more interest into the background. You can use a variety of tools to blend these sorts of backgrounds. So you could use your finger, a piece of tissue paper, some other napkin. You could use makeup tools. You could use soft tools. There's like a double F in that, in soft tools. Let me try to find this. You could use this to blend it. This is what people use to blend pan pastels. I find that pastel matte paper really destroys the tip of those because it's really coarse, but you could use that. I think I usually use my finger, so I'll just probably end up using my finger for this one. So I think it looks really cool right now. I'm going to add some lighter blue and also white to make it lighter in a little bit. Some people do backgrounds first, and I do see why that's a logical choice that they make, because, you know, the background is technically behind the animal, and so you should do it first. But I do it last, or almost last, because I don't want to smudge everything around when I'm drawing, and I like being able to choose the background after I've finished the portrait so that I know which colors that I ended up using, and I can make a better background for it. So after I do the background, I go back in and I add a bunch of flyaway hairs. I basically go around the entire outside edge to make sure that there are no just odd looking cutout type pieces. So I would make sure that a bunch of fur overlaps the background, pushing it into the back, and then also I do the whiskers, and then I sign the piece after the background. Now I'm going to add the light blue. So this is the light blue, and still using circular motions like this. This one really matches the color in the butterfly, as you can see. Making a background like this usually requires a lot of layers, so once I finish putting down all the colors and blending it, then I'll probably go over with more circles of the same colors, probably from dark to light, and just keep going until it looks right to me. This little tuft of fur is really, I think I might have, yeah, I think I'm going to add, that part can go on top of the background. It needs some background showing through. It's a very thin flyaway tuft of fur that's right there. So we're gonna go like that. And it's too green, so we're adding more blue. And I'll fix that when I blend it. So okay, now, I mean, obviously this isn't a realistic background, but if you'd like, you can identify where the light source is coming from. For the tiger is from over here, and you can add the lighter colors more on that side to keep consistent with your subject. If you don't know what background color to choose, I'd recommend, I mean, you don't have to draw what's in the background, but if you see some color that's existing in the background a lot, like let's say green, then I would make the background some sort of green background, because the colors in your reference that are in the fur of the animal, like in the photo, will be what you need to put in the background anyway to make it make sense, because the colors in the background are reflecting in the animal's fur. So I'm blowing to get the dust particles away, the dust, you know, the pastel dust. I'm blowing from over here toward up. This is on a slant, so I don't want to get all the blue into the white tiger's fur. So yeah, okay. Now blending time. My finger's are already covered anyway, so I'm just gonna take one finger and make circles. You don't have to like the color as it is right now. You can keep going and adding more colors. You can add different colors. You might want to use a blending stump or something really thin to blend in the areas between where the background and the subject meets. Just because your fingers or whatever you're using might be too big to get to the detailed areas without making a mess. So I'm blending almost down to the exact place where they meet, and then I will go in with the blending stump and do those parts. I love working with pastels and taping the, you can see a bit of the tape. I'm taping with masking tape the outside edges of my paper because, first of all, pastel mat tends to curl when you're drawing, and that's kind of annoying. And then also you get to peel it off at the end, which is very satisfying. And it leaves a really nice white border. I measure out exactly 1 centimeter or 1.5 centimeters depending on the piece. And then it makes a really nice border. And then when you frame it, that also looks really cool because you then have a natural mat around it. If you didn't put enough pastel on the background and now you're blending it, it might look like this, where you keep putting your finger over it but nothing's really happening and it's really sandpapery. Then just leave it and put some more pastel on it later. You also notice that right now there seems to be just some dark outline. I don't want that dark outline, and I will fix it in a little bit. So I'm getting the light blue and getting a lot closer to where my subject ends and the background begins. And then you can see where there's less darkness or less, bright circles that you want to add. I was debating whether or not to even add a background because even though there were smudges on the white, I really liked how it looked, white on white. But I'm happy I did the background, or I'm doing the background. It looks more finished. Pieces generally just look more finished when you add a background. backgrounds really do a lot to your painting, because it just really changes the way that people see them. For example, if you put a purple storm behind your realistic piece, it makes it look really, I don't know, majestic and also fictional, maybe fantasy. Whereas if you put in a whole bunch of trees with a really detailed background and take ages to do it, then that would make your realistic piece even more realistic, and people might mistake it for a photo. And then if you do something really basic but still green and just resembling trees or bushes, then it'll just still help your realism, and then make it just so that the focus is more on the subject or whatever you're trying to paint. It's really up to you what you want to do with your background. If you haven't seen the rest of my tiger videos, please go watch them. I have videos explaining how to do the eye, then the ear and the nose, and the butterfly, and also the fur. For the fur, I went over a couple sections in real time, and then I time-lapsed and explained the rest of them, because this piece took me, I don't know how many hours, but a lot of hours, and so I didn't feel like it would be a good use of time to film them all. If you want me to film my next piece start to finish, let me know in the comments, and I will seriously consider doing that. And if you wanted to follow along, that's definitely an option. I've tried to make it so that you could follow along with what I'm doing with this tiger, and I would love for anybody to try it. Okay, and that's basically it for this video. I'm just gonna, it's a really long process because the white pencil keeps getting dirty when I do this, but I'm just going to drag out flyaway hairs from all of the sides of this tiger to make it seem like it's truly in front of the background. And this just takes a long time, so I'm going to do that off camera now, and I hope to see you in my next video, which is the final video. How exciting! It's going to be of the whiskers, and I know that a lot of people struggle with whiskers, so hopefully that video will be super helpful. Thank you for watching, and I hope you could maybe follow along.